So, hello everyone. Welcome back to this web technology lab. So here, let's introduce some concepts or terms related to JavaScript. And let me tell you what is JavaScript and why actually we need this JavaScript. So we are also going into detail the programming exercises that are related to JavaScript. So I am Mrs. Archana Priyadarshini, Assistant Professor in the Department of ISC, Canada Engineering College. So here, let us see what is JavaScript and why do we need JavaScript. So JavaScript, it is nothing but it's a kind of a scripting language, strongly typed language, and JavaScript, as the name appears, to connect a close relation with Java. There's a close relationship with Java, and JavaScript and Java, they are actually very different. When we talk about JavaScript over versus Java, we can say that JavaScript is sometimes said to be an object-oriented language, and its object model is actually quite different from that of Java and C++. So, whereas Java is a strongly typed language, and the variables in JavaScript need not be declared, and it's dynamically typed. So that's what we know, right? In JavaScript, the variables declaration happens dynamically. JavaScript objects are dynamic, as we know, and basically, what are the basic uses of JavaScript is, first of all, we can have perform client-side validation, client-side kind of programming ability capabilities possible both in server as well as in client side in case of JavaScript. And when we come to the definition of or the basic roots of JavaScript, see, it can be divided into three parts, that is a core side, client side, and server side. So, core side of JavaScript represents the heart of the language, which includes your operators, expressions, statements, and subprograms. Client side JavaScript is a collection of objects that supports the control of a browser and the interactions with the users. This happens in client side JavaScript. Whereas I can give the example of client side JavaScript wherein the user interacts with there's a control of the browser and there's interactions with the user. So, for example, in JavaScript, a HTML document, if you consider a HTML document, it can be made to respond to user inputs, for example, mouse clicks as well as keyboard use. So, this belongs to client side JavaScript. And next, coming on to server side JavaScript, it is a collection of objects and that make language useful on a web server. So we can take the example of database management system. So any forms of communication that happens in the database is considered under server-side JavaScript. So this JavaScript was originally developed by Brendan H at Netscape. So this JavaScript, as such, we know it is very useful. Programming is a very useful language, and it provides programming capability both in server side as well as the client side. It is very useful, and it is compatible. Any browsers, it supports any browsers. So when we consider the basic points of JavaScript, that is JavaScript, it actually can change the HTML content, it can change HTML attribute values, it can change HTML styles, it can hide HTML elements, or it can show the HTML elements. So let's see these in forms of pictures, and let's demonstrate all these terms. So next, moving on to when I talk about object orientation versus JavaScript. So JavaScript as it does not have any classes, and it is not an object-oriented programming language. Rather, it is an object-based language. So as we know. So without classes, JavaScript cannot have class-based inheritance like Java. So in Java, you have got class-based kind of inheritance, but that is not supportable in JavaScript. So and in JavaScript, it cannot support polymorphism. So this is what I want to talk about, object orientation versus JavaScript. So next, in the next slide, let's see as to how we can demonstrate these five terms. we begin to discuss about the previous terms just listed about their applications. So let's move on to driving the basic applications of JavaScript program. So as I've told, JavaScript is open and free access. It's open and free. It's freely available in all platforms, and it requires no basic support in the sense you can use it is compatible to any browser. You can it has been installed in every each and every browser. Then it is one of the great choice for any programmers. And once you learn JavaScript, you can develop any kind of front end as well as back end applications. And JavaScript is the ideal choice for those who are developing web based kind of platforms. And this JavaScript, let's look into the basic applications. First one is the client side validation. So this is really important to verify any user input before submitting the form data to the server. And here JavaScript plays a very important role. So next is about manipulation of the web pages, HTML pages. So JavaScript helps in manipulating HTML page or dynamically. So that is, you can, if the user wants to add any particular HTML tag, he or she can add it using JavaScript dynamically. So if the user wants to delete any HTML tag, that can be done dynamically using JavaScript. So that's why this JavaScript is very useful in manipulating the HTML pages, and it also brings a good look and feel. And the third point is about user notifications. You can help, I mean, you can use the help of JavaScript to raise some dynamic pop-ups on the web page so that it gives you notifications to your visitors. So and the fourth point is about backend data loading. So backend data loading, this is possible with Ajax library, that is there. This Ajax library, it helps in loading backend data while you're doing some kind of processing. So this actually gives a good experience to website visitors. So next point is presentations. So JavaScript also provides the facility of creating presentations, which gives a website a good look and feel. And with the help of Reveal.js and Bespoke.js libraries, it is possible to build a web-based kind of slide presentations. And last point is about server applications. So Node.js is built in Java is actually built in Chrome's JavaScript runtime. So this helps in building very fast and scalable network applications. So there is also event-based library that helps in developing any server applications, including any web servers. So these are the basic applications of JavaScript. Next, let's look into detailed discussion about the previous 5 points. That is, it can change the HTML values, it can change the attribute values, it can hide the HTML. You can see all those points discussed in the coming slide. So here we see the overall view of how it's possible to change the content dynamically when we load a particular HTML page that contains JavaScript. So through JavaScript, it is possible to change dynamically the content of the of any HTML page. So you can observe that we have heading over here. What can JavaScript do? So this is the initial page, web page, and these are the contents. That is, JavaScript can change HTML content. You just observe this line. So this line is changed dynamically to hello JavaScript. You can observe. So that is on click of the button. So there is an ID associated with this paragraph, and when the button is clicked, it causes change in the content of JavaScript can change HTML content to hello JavaScript. So in this way, we'll see other different possible applications or usage of JavaScript. So this is another possible usage of JavaScript. It is it changes HTML attribute values. You can observe the image over here. The image is loaded, and upon click of the button, turn on the light. You will have the bulb glowed on. So and whenever the button turn off the light is clicked, you have the light being turned off. So this is how the button is associated with the image. So this is possible with the help of JavaScript. So in this you can see the change in the font style. So the first font style that is applied to the particular paragraph, we have associated an ID with this particular paragraph, and to this ID there is we have applied an event handler, that is on click of JavaScript, and using on click, whenever this button is clicked, that is click me, you will have the change in the font, I mean change in the font size. So we have used CSS for this and combined with JavaScript in order to have a change in the style of the fonts display in the web page. So this is what the JavaScript can do dynamically. When the user interacts, it causes a change in the you feel and look and feel of the web page. So coming to another feature of JavaScript, that is it is possible to hide elements or to make the elements display. Okay, so we have got certain properties, that is along with style we can mention the visibility feature, or we can mention the display to be none. So we have got various values for display, that is display can be none or it can be set to block or inline, several properties. But with the help of this JavaScript, you can observe that, see, as per the result, the text was intended to be a paragraph here, and click when the user clicks the button, that is click me, that a paragraph is being hidden. So this is possible with the various attributes and methods of JavaScript. So here let's examine this code. So we have got a paragraph, two paragraphs, that is this is some text and this is some text, wherein the first paragraph will be in display mode. Okay, two text will be displayed at the beginning. So when we click a particular button, let's say hide text with display property, whatever is the id associated with the paragraph, that will be hidden, or it display will be none. Okay, we can do this with the help of style dot display equals to none. This is the way we can hide a particular html element. So that comes under get element by id method. Okay, these are the properties, style dot display equal to none. The same thing, if we and but during this time, a particular text that is whose visibility is hidden will be displayed at the beginning when this particular text, that is when we click on a particular button that is supposed to hide the text. So when we click the button that is supposed to hide the text, another text will be visible. And since we have already set this visibility to hidden for the other text, and based on the click of the button, that is hide text with visibility property, that paragraph which has got visibility is hidden will be hidden. So you can observe the result in the next slide. So here you can observe the result. That is, first of all, we have got two texts that are represented as paragraphs. Okay, and we have got two buttons that we have labeled them as hide text with display property and hide text with visibility property. So one of the text is having visibility as hidden, and the other text will have display as none. That is, when we click that particular button, hide text with display property, the text or the paragraph that has got display value equals none will be hidden off. You can observe the second line, it's been hidden off. And when we click the other button, it is having visibility property as hidden. So that text also which will be hidden. So you can display a text or you can hide a particular HTML element. All these are possible with JavaScript. So in this slide, we'll see what is DOM, or nothing but document object model. So what is this document object model? So this document object model is an API, or an application programming interface, that defines an interface between the HTML documents that we write and the application programs. So it is an interface HTML documents and the application programs. And it is also called as an abstract model because it can be applied to a variety of application programming languages. So each language that interfaces with DOM must define a kind of binding to that interface. So any links or any binding must be done for any language that interfaces with DOM. So actual DOM, or actual document object model, it consists of collection of interfaces including one for each document tree node type. So these interfaces are similar to your Java interfaces or any abstract classes in C++. So what do they do is they define the objects, methods and properties that are associated with the respective node types. So with the DOM, users can write the code in programming languages to create the documents, move around in structures, and change or delete elements and their content. So that is the basic use of DOM. So in document object model, the see this was under development by W3C. So this W3C is a world consortium. It's a consortium this wherein we can let's see about DOM level 3. So here DOM level 3 is usually referred to as DOM 3, which is the current version. So the current version of document object model is your DOM 3. Okay. So this there are different levels of DOM 0, DOM 1, DOM 2, DOM 3. So DOM 2 was supported by FX3, but now currently we are using DOM level 3. So the motivation behind this DOM was to provide a specification that would allow Java programmers and JavaScript that deal with the HTML documents. So it actually basically defines the binding, and it has got a tree-like structure, and there can be more than one tree in a document because it's nothing but an abstract interface. Okay, so you'll see this DOM. Uh, it has actually a document object and it has forms array. Okay, and documents object have also properties arrays for anchors, links, images, and applets. So you'll see the DOM model in the next slide. So you can observe there is a document object at the root, and below that you have got the HTML. For example, you write a HTML page. So HTML covers the root element, and then below we have got head and body within the HTML tag. Right, the root of any HTML page is your HTML tag, and below that you have got head tag and then body tag, and associated with head, you have got title and other meta tag, and within the body tag you may have other types of links or any paragraphs or or an image. So all these will be below the body tag, and associated with each element you have some attributes. So this is how it links each element to its attribute in the form of tree like structure. So here we'll see a particular method of DOM. So document is an object, and for the object it has got methods. So several methods are there associated with the document object under DOM model. So one such method is getElementById. We are using this particular method to return the element that has the ID. That means for each HTML element you have got an ID associated with it. So in order to perform any action, or in order to get the attribute values, of this particular method, basically we are using an ID. This ID is unique in a document regardless of how deeply the element is nested in other elements. So if the ID attribute is turned on, then we can have the value for get element by ID, like a document dot get element by ID of turn it on. So this get element by ID, the parameter what we are writing within the brackets, it can be any expression that evaluates to a string. So in many cases it is a variable. So each radio button or each checkbox will have an ID that will make it easier to identify the address. Obviously, we can refer to any particular element. We can change the content. We can change the attribute values basically with the help of JavaScript, and it is done through DOM model. Without the DOM model, JavaScript wouldn't be easier. So it is with the help of DOM model, JavaScript is it's possible for having powerful features in JavaScript so as to change the contents, change the attribute values or hide the contents. So these are the features of JavaScript. So next property that can be associated with this get element by ID is nothing but inner HTML. So we are using this inner HTML property to change the content or associated with that particular ID. So we are giving the ID within the parameter of get element by ID, and for that ID it will allocate the HTML element. So that is easier in case of DOM. Okay. So this ID will have the content change, or we can change the original content of the HTML element. So that is, it sets the inner HTML property. So this is the way we can set the inner HTML property, that is a HTML element object. So it may be any element. So it may be a paragraph, I mean the ID associated for a paragraph. So that paragraph may have the content change to what is given as a value here. See, HTML object dot inner HTML. So here HTML object can be document dot get element by ID. So we are giving the ID for that particular HTML as a parameter in get element by ID dot inner HTML. We can write it like that, dot inner HTML. This inner HTML will change the content of associated with that particular ID to text. But this is the way we can include the inner HTML in a HTML page. And the return type associated with this inner HTML is a string. So now we'll discuss about JavaScript variables and how it is possible to declare any variables. So there are different ways of declaring variables. As you know, in JavaScript, the variables are dynamically typed. That means when you want, you can declare its data type. So variables here, they can have the value of any primitive type. That is, it can, or it can be a reference to any object. Okay, that is, it can be. So it can be an integer, or it can be a floating type, or it can be a string. Okay, but in order to declare any variable, we have the keyword var. So whatever value the variable takes, you are declaring the variable by keyword var. So var followed by variable name, that is, it may be name. So now you are assigning the value to name here. See, you can observe there is a comment given. That means, see, we have declared, we have shown the different ways in which the declaration of variables is possible. In the second line, it is in the comment section. But whatever variables are declared, it should be within the script tag. So as you know, to define any JavaScript code, we use the script tag followed by the type of the script. So it can be text bar CSS, or it can be text bar JavaScript. So whenever you're using a JavaScript code, you have to mention the type to be text slash JavaScript. So this tells that the interpreter, this tells the interpreter to interpret the lines within the script tag. So it understands the meaning. The interpreter understands the meaning of each line within the script tag. So talking about JavaScript variables, once again, a variable can be declared either by assigning it a value, something like a var name equal to Ali, in which case the interpreter implicitly declares it to be a variable, or but the reserved word used is var. So, for example, we can have var money, that is the other way, and money can be associated with the value 2000.50. That means now the money is of type floating. Okay, so in JavaScript, once again, the comments can be written in form of same as that of C. In C, you have got two ways, that is multi-line comment and single line comment, which is double slash. That is a single line comment, and multi-line comment starts with a not symbol, hyphen hyphen, then ends with a hyphen hyphen, and close of the angular bracket. So this is all about variables, and the rules and regulations that needs to be followed for any declaration of any variable, right? So it should not have any keywords, and it should not start with a number. It can start with the underscore. Okay, these are the keywords which are used in JavaScript. So you can observe abstract is a keyword, else is a keyword, int is a keyword, new also is a keyword, then import is a keyword, super, and so on. So in this slide, let's see about JavaScript objects. So talking about the objects, basically these are nothing but the collections of properties which correspond to the members of the classes. Okay, they are the collection of properties which correspond to the members of the classes, and each property is either a data property or a function or method property. So data property, it appears into categories here, that is, it may be primitive values and references to other objects. So you know what are primitive values, and in JavaScript, variables that refer to objects are often called objects rather than references, right? So we refer to the method properties. They are as simply methods, and you know what is meant by data property. So as such, we have told the property may be either data property or it may be a function or method property. So method property, it means methods itself, and we prefer to call subprograms through object methods. So JavaScript uses non-object types. That is, these are nothing but primitives. So primitives are like simple scalar variables, and all the objects, they are indirectly accessed through the variables, right? Such variables are like references in Java. So for example, here when we talk about the JavaScript objects, so you know that how you will see the methods of indicating the object. First of all, before doing this, let's see that root object in JavaScript is nothing but the object itself. An object is most generic to all objects, having some methods or it may be no data properties. So JavaScript object appears both internally and externally as a list of property value pairs. So you have the properties like first name, last name, age, eye color, and it has got values associated with these properties. And this is the method how to create. For example, person is an object. So that person can take, it's a variable, right? So it should be declared with var keyword, and the values for the properties can be given in this manner. You have a flower bricks, then followed by the property colon value, property colon value, properties colon value, so on. We can give a list of properties along with the associated values. So like property colon value in that form. Okay, and in order to display some object, we use the document object model, that is a document dot get element by id is the method associated with the document object, and we have the property, we have the parameter that is it associates the id of the paragraph. So what is the id of the paragraph? That we have mentioned demo. So it uses that id in order to change the content of that particular line. So that content can be changed using inner HTML. So we write dot inner HTML equals what should be displayed. so in place of the demo id. So that is in case if you want the first name, see, this is the way to access any particular element of an object, that is object dot method. So which is the method or which is the property? First name. Object dot property, person dot first name, that will display the value of associated with the first name, that is John. So along with that, we want to mention few more parameters. We concatenate with the plus symbol, plus followed by last name. So you can give yeah, instead of last name you can have other statement, that is John is 50 years old. So here you can specify is separately as a string, so concatenated with person dot age. So person dot age is the value associated with the property age. So we write it as object, this person dot age, it is 50, and along with that years old. So we can mention this as a string, right? So all of these will be included in the script tag of within the body tag. So this is how we can create an object and display some data from the object. So any language can be considered as an object oriented programming language if it has got these four properties. The first one is encapsulation. It is the capability to store their data and methods. An object has got the data and methods, okay, associated with it. So the this kind of binding capability of the methods and their values in an object that happens through classes. So this kind of encapsulation just it's provided for any object oriented language. JavaScript is one of them, so it has got all these properties. So the second property is about aggregation, that is to how do we store one object inside another object. This kind of nesting which can be provided with the help of functions also, or classes. So next, in the third point, we see the concept of inheritance. That is the capability of the class to use the method of their parent class, and the subclass can define their own methods in addition to the inherited methods. So the capability of the class to rely upon another class for some properties or some methods is called inheritance. So last point is about polymorphism. This is also exhibited by JavaScript or any kind of object-oriented languages. So wherein this polymorphism tells the capability to write one function in different ways. That is, it can have different forms of the function. So it may have different parameters, or it may exhibit different capability or functionality. So this is nothing but your polymorphism. So these four properties are exhibited by any object oriented programming language. So here let's see another event, that is on click event. So this is an event that is fired upon mouse click. So whenever the user clicks on the left button of his mouse, so an event is triggered. So that event can be specified as a value to this on click event. So how do we include this on click event is we have to specify this in the input tag itself, or you can specify it in the button tag. So if we specify it as an input, so we need to say that the input can be a button, okay, using a type, and then we can have another attribute, that is on click, that is upon the user click of the particular button the function is executed. So it may be an alerting a particular message using alert window, or it may be some text that is changed or any other action that is triggered upon click of the mouse. So and its value, the button value can be named, okay, so in the form of text. So this is how we can have an on-click event. Let's see this demo in the next in the video sessions which are prepared. Let's see an example that is pertaining to on-click. So here in this code, you observe what does this actually do is we have got an inner HTML attribute, and whatever may be the message, so that message is changed to the contents of date. So date is an object, and you get the detailed format of the date. That date will be replaced by the message or the paragraph whatever is there currently. So, and you can observe that the button is named as the time is. So when you click that button, you will get the date. So that is the result of this on click event. So an action is triggered, that is the date function is called. So this demonstrates an on click event. So here it's a task given to you students to see that this result is obtained. That is, we have a button. The button value has got say hello. In this one click of the button, the user is supposed to obtain some result. For example, either it may be a alert window, or it may be a confirm message, or any particular statement, or it may be something related to change in the font or styles of the text that is displayed as a paragraph. So this is assignment given to the students. So we have got various properties under this HTML element, and we have got the attributes like inner HTML and attribute style dot property. So for each HTML element, there is an associated properties. Like in HTML, will change the content of the HTML element present before, and attribute specifies the change in the attribute value, and we have got style dot property. So it may be any font change or any styles or any size of the font change, or you can specify a different color to the HTML element. So this is possible with the element dot style dot property, and you're setting that to a new style. Okay, so it may be a new value assigned to that particular HTML element. And we have got another method, that is set attribute. So whatever may be the HTML element, it may be a paragraph or it may be any heading, you can have a method called set attribute with the parameters attribute and value, and with this you can change the attribute value of an HTML element. Slide, you can see that the DOM or the document object has got several methods. That is, you can use create element to create a particular HTML element, new HTML element, and you can also use remove child, which is another method, and we can also have append child and replace child and dot write. So these are all the different methods that that can be used to modify or replace or write any HTML output screen. So in the previous slides, we have seen the on-click event and some of the different methods under document object model. And let's come back to once again the on-click event. The way in which it has to better is starting from the root of the HTML tree, that is document, as follows from the object model. So document dot get element by ID, that is a method, and you are specifying the ID of any particular HTML element. And for that element, any event like on click or on press, there are several events that are associated with the methods. Okay, so what that paragraph or what has that element got to do? Whether it must whether when you over the text it should display some message, or what action has to be taken, that is nothing but your event handler. So event handler is basically a script that is implicitly executed in response to the appearance of an event. So it may be the event handlers, they enable a web document to be responsive to a browser. So one of the most common use is to check for simple errors and omissions in the user input. That is, for example, if a user enters a particular message as an input in the text box, so some alert message can be used as a display or a pop-up. That is something called as an event. Okay, an event is basically a notification that something specific has occurred, so either in the browser or after completion of loading of a document. So we can have there are several events in JavaScript. That is, it may be blurring. In order to blur that particular message or a text, we use on blur, a kind of event handler, and in order to load any particular window, we use on load. Okay, or to click any particular message, we use on click event. Autofocus, okay, or we can use it to mouse over or mouse out. What happens when you move the mouse close to the text? Some message has to be displayed. So some events will are responsible for doing all these kinds of events. Some event handler, okay, there are event handlers associated with the events. For example, for key up, if you want to press the key, then on key press is an event handler. If you want to load any particular message, you have on load. Or if you want to click event, use an on click kind of event handler. Or if you want to submit some form data, you use on submit. So like that, there are several events associated with the event handler.